Hey, we're back
And
again.
today's
This video is
about
dancer problems because we are dancers.
None of you know.
We are dancers. We dance.
Every kind of dance.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. We dance Stars Dance Studio in Alaska, run by Janie Williams.
Yes.
Very nice lady.
Very nice lady. She took us to Disneyland one time.
She did.
Yeah, and it was fun.
Fun.
Anyways, so
First,
dancers experience a lot of problems.
And it makes us all very mad.
Yeah, it's like common problems
that every dancer can relate
to.
Has. And everyone can relate to. Well, every dancer.
Every dancer. I mean,
okay.
Some of you may get this from other sports, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so number one.
People think it's like
easy. Not a sport,
yeah.
And it's easy.
Because they're like, oh, do you do a sport for a living? And you're like, oh, I dance. And they're like,
that's not
what?
A sport.
They're like, that's not a sport. And we're like, if you sweat, it's a sport.
Yeah. Like, I think.
And people are like, you sweat when you dance? And we're like, yeah. Like, that's why people think that it's easy, because people don't know that you actually sweat when you dance.
Yeah, they're like, oh no, it's just.
And it's like ballet and stuff.
Around.
And even ballet is hard.
Ballet is hard. Like, everything has to be
perfect,
turned out, feet pointed, like everything's perfect.
Yeah, and elongated, and like it's not easy. You sweat, it's hard, it's a sport. There's nothing easy about that.
Like you'll take a simple bar class. Yeah, and you will know our pain.
Yeah. Okay.
And next, when you watch a movie about dancers or TV shows,
or you go to a play,
and their technique is totally wrong,
and like their knees are bent, or their toes aren't pointed,
not pointed.
They have awkward dance hands, because the correct dance hand position, it's like you're holding an egg between your middle finger and your thumb, and but it has to be pretty. So like. So, and when your hands, like, it doesn't matter, like, if you're doing that in, like, hip-hop.
Yeah, but, like hip-hop hands don't exist.
Yeah, and also, like, people are like, oh, yeah, dancing. Oh, that's no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, like, oh, you dance? Oh, cool.
Okay.
Guess that's not a sport. Okay, anyways. And, so when you're learning a dance, so, like, this happened to me the other night. It happens to many dancers. This happened to me right as I was about to go to sleep, and the song
of our dance that you're dancing to
stuck in your head, and you can't stop doing the dance in your head.
You're just like laying
I was trying to go to sleep, but the song was stuck in my head, and so if the song's stuck in my head, I'm gonna do the dance in my head.
The dance is stuck in your head.
The dance is like the dance and the song. Yeah. So you can't not do the dance if you have the song stuck in your head.
Okay, and then another one is when you're like, listening to music
that you really like, you get really into it,
the groove,
and you're in your head, you're just like making up dance moves, and you're just making up a dance
because you're just kind of like bobbing your shoulders.
And I always whenever we're in the car listening to music, I'm always tapping my foot, tapping my thumb.
Yeah,
I'm always like moving my butt somehow. I always do that, or my thighs, or something like that. And so like it's kind of like you just make up dances in your head when you like a song.
Yeah. And it's not something you can help, it just happens.
Yeah, and also like when you're in the grocery store and they're playing music and you want, when you're in the grocery store, you know how the floors are slippery?
Yes.
Yes.
And so
you want to do turns. So you're just doing turns.
And you're doing sautés in aisle 5, and people are like,
what is she doing? And so
I'm like, sorry.
But like that's every dancer does that. Like you always doing turns and aisles and stuff like that. Like in the grocery store all the time. I always do that, especially in Costco. The floor's slippery.
Yeah, and I had this problem at school too, because our floors are slippery.
Oh yeah.
So I'll be doing turns or practicing taps normally, and I'm just like, okay, shuffle, shuffle, kickball, change, and people are like, what
staring
are
at
you doing? And I'm like, you don't need to watch this.
This is not dancer problem. Okay. And splits. When you are doing the splits, like when you're stretching with your friends. And like even some of your, we'll start with the friends that aren't your dance. Yeah. We'll start with friends that aren't dancers. So you'll be like stretching and stuff and doing, and you do the splits in front of them. And they're like, oh, can you do the splits? And you're like, yeah, and then you do it. And they're like, ew, that's so gross. You're some sort of
you're an
contortionist.
And I'm like, you know what?
No. And even with some of your friends who are dancers who might not be exactly the most flexible people in the world, because they might have just started dance, or they might not be as flexible as you are, and they're just starting. Even when you do it in front of them, they're kind of like, ew.
They're like, ew, that's gross.
Even though they really want to be
they want to be flat, they're just like, ew, that's gross.
Yeah, so like, once they get to that point, they won't want to say
like, this isn't gross at all.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh,
wow.
yeah, sorry I said that to you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
people who think
all dance is like ballet.
Like ballet or hip hop.
No. No. Like ballet, you don't like when you're unless you want to be a ballerina, you only do ballet as in technique.
Yeah.
Just to keep, because ballet.
A lot of people do ballet dancing.
But like the stuff that we do, we do it
for technique.
And you don't perform. You don't like do a ballet dance and perform a ballet dance. You do technique to keep, because ballet is the base of all dancing.
Yeah.
So when you do it, it's helping you with all other types of dance that you do. And hip hop, it's like not everybody does hip hop.
Yeah.
Like I love hip hop, but not everybody else does it.
Yeah, like, I mean...
Like, hip-hop is my favorite, but I know a lot of people that it isn't. Like, her sister, Bella, can't do hip-hop. She refused to do this one move in the dance if she didn't perform it.
Hip-hop's her favorite, and so hip-hop's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, lyrical. Oh, and when people think that lyrical and modern
are
ballet,
the same thing,
and they're
too. Because lyrical is not. Lyrical is it's a slow dance where you're telling a story.
Yeah, it's a combination of jazz and ballet. It's not like point.
Yeah, and that's technically ballet. That's a form of ballet. And then modern is contemporary dancing. It's very like, it's kind of
contemporary
weird.
Is probably my favorite.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Like I like pretty much all dance, but like contemporary is very weird. It's modern. It's different.
It's like unique.
It's like not your average dance style. Yeah. But it's like everybody likes it, and it's very like
cool.
And it also like lyrical. It tells a story.
Yeah.
So it tells a story with the music.
One thing that bothers me is I have a friend who's full on ballerina. Her mother will not stop trying to get me to go to their studio and only take ballet. She's like, you should really take ballet. And I'm like, lady, I don't want to.
Yeah, and also it's at a complete other studio. It's like you don't
45 minutes away from my house.
And you don't when you're a dancer and you're committed to one studio, you don't go and really take another studio unless you're like, you could go and just take ballet for somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just to like keep your technique up, but like not performing
there.
You don't perform with them, because otherwise you'll be counted as in their team and at their studio.
Yeah, like you don't.
So it's just like a two-timer, like a studio hopper.
Yeah.
As they call it on Dance Mom's favorite show.
And okay. When you want this bone in your back to be surgically removed, so that you can have a perfect arabesque.
And an arabesque is when you're standing and you take your leg behind you, either one of your legs, and you put it straight behind you. Yeah. And then you also want to see how far you can.
You want it as high as it can possibly go.
And so, there's this one bone. It's not the easiest thing to do unless you're like,
really hard.
Yeah. And like some ballerinas actually have the surgery to remove this bone in their back that can give you
back.
I don't know what it's called, but it gives you a perfect arabesque, because that's what's holding you from making your leg go all the way up to like the back of your head.
Yeah, but I mean, since it's their career, they're like, sure, just take it out.
Yeah, it's not really good for much else, but
yeah, I don't think it really does anything.
Yeah, but still, it's like
there.
And then the last but not least,
when your knees constantly hurt
and pop and your hips
and your hips are always screwed up,
and every time you sit down your hips pop, or every time you stand up your hips pop. My hips pop all the time.
Yeah, and
your
feet and your toes are like screwed up,
messed up. Like you've got cuts and bruises all over your feet, your knees, especially when you're doing knee slides and hip hop and you're not wearing long pants. You get hurt. You get like knee burns and bruises all over your knees. And then we're moving into a new studio, but so for now we're dancing in a back room at a coffee shop, and it sounds weird, but
sounds weird.
But it's actually a pretty big room, but it's carpeted, so it's kind of hard to dance on. And so if you don't wear socks, you'll get rug burns all over your feet. Because I have a bunch of I have one thing. I thought I cut myself shaving, but no, it's like a rug burn, and it's lined.
Yeah, it hurts.
And I've got cuts and bruises all over my feet.
Bad.
Okay, so this has been dancer's problems.
Yeah, I mean, common dancer problems. If you're a dancer, let us know some of your other problems.
Yeah, comment.
Yeah. And
pretty much.
Yeah, share us with your friends. Make sure to subscribe. And if you have any hate comments,
we don't care.
We don't care. If you're gonna say we're ugly, we already know. So, bye.
Bye.